What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in effect. Purple State Party, you know what we're doing here. We're repping America, the center, and common sense. And, we had the great debate between these two extremes. And quite frankly, I'll sum it up for you right here. Not impressed. Wasn't impressed going in. But anyhow, this is to all of you who are starting to think the answer just might be in the middle. Let's get this show popping. It's going to sound like I'm speeding through this one, but I am. I got 4th of July plans. I got to start getting ready for that. I'm going to go see Blue Lock today in theaters. It's an anime about a Japanese soccer academy. I never in a million years thought I was going to be watching that. It's modern times. Another thing I never thought I would see is the United States and the world just going fucking insane. And that's what we've seen. We're going to see a few examples right off the bat here of the world going insane. Look at this one. UN says it will suspend aid operations across Gaza without improved safety. Senior UN officials have warned Israel that they will suspend the world body's aid operations across Gaza unless Israel acts urgently to better protect humanitarian workers. Who are they protecting them from? Hamas. But yet we're supposed to support those people? We're supposed to support the citizenry over there? This is mental, okay? When you're at war, you don't really need to care about your enemy. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. And that's the way people view it. And that's part of the problem that we're seeing in the United States and across the world, is an influx of people who don't think the same way, who don't have the same regard for human life, who don't have the same regard for civilization. They don't really give a shit. They want what they want, and they're selfish. And who else is selfish? The Democrats. But we're going to get to more of that, okay? This one happened in Germany. A woman in Germany has been given a harsher sentence than a convicted rapist after she was found guilty of defaming him. This girl from Hamburg called the rapist a disgraceful rapist pig and a disgusting freak. And the guy she was talking about was one of 9 attackers who gang raped a 15-year-old girl. And the saddest part is, none of them did jail time. Well, excuse me, 1 did jail time. 8 got away with it. She was sentenced to a weekend in jail. The rapist was given a suspended sentence and served no prison time due to his age. Wow. Way to go, Germany. They were all under 20 at the time, allowing them to be subject to juvenile law. Only one of them spent any time in jail, an Iranian national. The fuck is an Iranian national doing in Germany? Probably not there legally, probably slipped under the way they're doing it here in the United States. You know what this dude says about the rape? What man doesn't want that? See, that's the way they think. If you grow up in a culture that treats women as less than a second-class citizen, and then you move to another country, does that automatically change your mind? Because that's how it used to work here in the United States. You used to try to adopt the norms of the country you moved to, but not anymore. They come into the country as a pig, and they stay a pig. Not one of the defendants said a word of regret. None of them were sorry for what they did. They ruined a girl's life, and she will have to fight through that for the rest of her life, and they do no jail time. And do you think it changed their mind? Do you think it made them a better person? It didn't. Okay? It didn't. Liberals, they love to think that by giving somebody a second chance, it's automatically going to change their mind, change their trajectory in life. And we know that's not true all the time. 70% of people who go through these kinds of things, they don't make it. Whether it's drugs or crime or whatever, 70% of them will just continually return to it. It's disgusting what they're doing. See, it's a worldwide effort by the Marxists, the far left. It's worldwide. In each country, the conservatives or the centralists, they're worrying about their country. They don't have this global agenda. Well, maybe it's time for centralists to start constructing a global agenda. Because this is stupid. What we've seen in Germany and what we're seeing out of the UN, it's just dumb. I wish there were other words I could use, but I guess I'm just going to have to use those words. So, speaking of shitstorms, the debate be like, Mr. Biden, blink twice if you agree that Trump was the worst president ever. Yeah, I didn't always agree with Trump, but Biden's the worst ever. Biden has, well, by design, allowed the far left to fester. He opened up the borders. He's allowing countries to drain their prisons into our country. What kind of thought process is that? You know, if you put up a frail border, that Argentinian criminals are going to get sent here. They're going to get sponsored. Venezuelans are going to get sponsored to come up here, clean out the prisons. Look, we have more room. And do you think they're sending model prisoners? They're sending the worst of the worst. They catch a rapist. The rapist continues just to rape prisoners every day. Security's getting sick of it. Oh, okay. Well, we'll just put him on a bus and send him up the border. Okay, I've already done that. Look up what happened when floods of Cuban immigrants came into Florida. Not long after that, all of a sudden, what did we have? We had the cocaine capital. And Miami was built on the back of Bolivian marching powder. We know this. We've seen it. History has already taught us this. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Same thing if you ignore history. Biden is the worst that we have seen in modern times. He has done the least, and he has accomplished the most disasters, the most damage we've ever seen. Ask yourself this. If all of these illegal migrants owe cartels and smugglers money for the trip, when is that bill going to come due? Not on Biden's watch. Right? Not on Biden's watch. And that's probably why they're leaving that withered old husk in there. They want Trump to win so that when all of the problems explode, they can blame it on the Republicans. Yeah. Good plan. I mean, it's a good strategy. Anyhow, back to the debates. Trump indicted for murdering elderly man on CNN. The liberals, the far left, they relish in hypocrisy. They relish in something like calling Trump a liar when Biden's a consummate liar. We already know this. He's lied about his schooling. He's lied about his civil rights involvement. He lies about things and nobody seems to give a shit. But if Trump says something that could be construed as a lie, we're going to go we'll see more. U.S. presidential debate. Biden delivers uneven performance under Trump's barrage of falsehoods. Okay, Helen. What are some of your falsehoods? His well-worn falsehoods that he's long repeated on the campaign trail, including claims that migrants have carried out a crime wave. They have. Democrats support infanticide. Well, I mean, not really, but abortion, you could say abortion's infanticide. Not really a lie, sort of a manipulation. Okay? And that he actually won the 2020 elections. Which, again, we can't really say we can say it's a lie because he didn't win. Okay? But questioning those results under the conditions in which that election was held, I don't know. But those are not the same sort of lies that we're hearing from the left. And they relish in the fact that they get checked on it. Let's look at one of those. Trump said Biden has failed to secure the southern U.S. border, ushering in scores of criminals. They have. We've already caught ISIS terrorists. We've already caught members of other terror groups. The problem is not that we catch them, because that's great. We caught them. Yay. All right? The fact is they've been here. Sometimes up to a year they've been here before they were apprehended. What if they come over here with a quicker acting plan? I don't know. But they're building up forces. The cartels are building up forces. The criminal gangs out of Venezuela are building up forces. The Chinese are building up forces. The radicalized Muslims are building up forces. Just sliding Biden. Trump said, I call it Biden migrant crime. And Biden replied, once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying. Well, which is it? Exaggerating? Maybe. Lying? No. We have seen a lot of illegal migrant crime. And a lot of it is not being reported. A lot of it, they leave the fact that they're not even supposed to be here out of the story. And here we go. Here's the left, right? Helen from before, right? Trying to protect Biden. Studies show immigrants do not commit crimes at a higher rate than native-born Americans. So you're talking about immigrants who at one point went through the paperwork and came to this country legally. And we're not in debt to cartels. They came over here to be Americans. They came over here for a better life and they were willing to work for it. Those immigrants do not commit crimes at a higher rate. What we've got lately is this: a flood. I'm sorry, but if the prisons are being emptied from places like Venezuela, Argentina, they're dumping them into our system. If they are putting people into massive debt to get here so that they now control them and can use them for slavery, sex slavery, drug smuggling, drug selling, whatever it is, you have let in a lot of criminals. If you let in a bunch of criminal migrants with no checks, just, oh, hey, you have no red flags, check back with you in 6 months. I mean, we recently had a 12-year-old who was killed by a guy who cut off his ankle bracelet. If you're letting in criminals, then yes, you will have a criminal migrant crime wave. Criminal migrant crime wave. I don't know, man. So who's lying? At one point, the two old dudes started arguing about golf. I think Trump, if he gets his weight behind it, he's probably going to hit the ball farther. And Biden retorted that Trump would struggle to carry his own bag. You know, that's why they invented golf carts there, Grandpa. I know you were born before the horseless carriage, but geez, man, you know, read a blog. That's what we have right now. Is that really all America? Is that really all you're worth? Trump or Biden? We've seen what happens. Look at the destruction under Biden. Look at the destruction under Gavin Newsom. Look how quickly it happened. Look how far down the shithole we are. We have to question whether we support Israel. We have to question whether it's a good idea to just let people stream across the border with just basic checks in place. They flood the border and all the people who would not survive a check go this way. I've done a diagram on that. You get all of the normal people being funneled this way. The border patrol comes over here. All the really bad people go this way. I'm just some dumbass in a home studio, man. You know these people know that this is happening, and it's part of their plan. It's part of their plan. And the worst part about it is that when you push back against it, you're labeled a racist. You're a xenophobe. You're a xenophobe because you don't want Argentina dumping their prisons into the United States. And then we're going to shelter these people. We're going to give these people money. And then they're just going to go out and commit crimes. And that's what we're seeing. And speaking of lies, Biden makes stunning omission while claiming no troops died anywhere in the world on his watch. The only president this century and this decade that did not have troops dying anywhere in the world. Well, he kind of forgot about the 13 that were killed when he pulled out of Afghanistan. Look at Afghanistan is a perfect example of how these people act. They want something, they do something, and fuck the results. They don't care. All they want to be able to say is, we brought our troops home. Trump couldn't bring the troops home. We brought the troops home. And what a disaster. We left billions of dollars of equipment there. We left our allies in the lurch. This was a disaster. It's not even debatable what happened in Afghanistan. That was a sheer fuck up. And he lies about it, and CNN doesn't fact check him. They let him go on with his lies. Because Trump's the liar, not Biden, not lying Biden. Here's another article. I think this was from like The Independent or one of those Reuters. Trump took the stage as a felon. Oh, okay. And he claims his defeat was a result of fraud, falsely claiming his defeat was the result of fraud. It's never going to be proven. They looked at the machines, but not the ballots. He suggested he'll punish his political enemies, which Biden has already done. But he will need to convince undecided voters that he does not pose a moral threat to democracy. Dude, under Gavin Newsom, Californians asked for the right to vote to overturn Prop, 47, to recriminalize shoplifting and some of these things. The Supreme Court, Democrats, under direction from Gavin Newsom, Democrat, scratched it. Said we don't have the right to vote on those things. The Congress, the Senate of California, quickly passes a bunch of bills and says, oh, look, there'll be consequences if you vote for this. We don't have the, excuse me, I misspoke earlier. The Supreme Court in California took away the right for us, citizens, to say if you're going to raise taxes, you need to get a vote. The Democrats are it's easy to tell. I'll tell you how it's easy to tell. When they keep saying that Trump is a threat to democracy, they themselves are the threat to democracy. They lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. They lied about Russian collusion. They covered up any discussion about COVID. They covered up any discussion about the election. And they continue to operate an open border while telling us our border is secure. Who is the threat to democracy? See, here we go again with the media. Trump, whose fundraising surged after he was criminally convicted of trying to cover up hush money. It's going to get overturned. Okay? It's going to get overturned. I am all behind the sentiment of Make America Great Again. Why wouldn't I be? I'm a proud American. I'm pro-America. I don't think either one of these guys is our answer. I don't think at least one of them is going to get replaced. I think it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be Biden at this point. But I'm going to move on. So I try to learn from history. I try to learn from other outcomes. Try to take sort of a scientific approach to figuring out what's going to happen, what's going to go on. I think that's a little bit from the horse racing days, gambling days, you know. You look at things, you take all these variables, and you try to come up with a solution. If you don't see what the plan is with Biden, you need to look no further than Gavin Newsom here in California. Gavin Newsom pre-recorded his State of the State address. Didn't even do it live. Couldn't even come off the cuff. Had to record it and then disappear into a bunker somewhere. Because he didn't want to answer questions to this gibberish that he spouts. Gavin Newsom warns that dark forces are threatening California. He's the dark force. I mean, if you think that us being a sanctuary state for illegal aliens and a sanctuary state for people who want an abortion makes us great, you got to look around, man. You got to look around. I've already come to the realization that I'm not going to be able to stay here forever. I was born here. I want to stay here. But these people have seized control and are acting like the princes and kings and queens of a long gone era. Gavin Newsom and the Democratic Party are the dictators here, and we're going to see examples of it. We're going to use his own words to prove his point. But see, he blames conservatives and right-wing media for noticing California's dysfunction on his watch. He appeared to blame Republicans and the conservative media for the state's failures. Like this guy points out, the homelessness, stabbing, schools, robberies, assaults, auto theft, murders, traffic, and infrastructure aren't the problem with California. Right-wing media pointing out the problems are the problems. That's what he's trying to say. These are his problems. These are his policies. These are the policies of Democrats that have led us to these things. When they try to juice the scores in schools, it just crumbles because you're not focusing on fixing the real problem. You want to put a fancy glitter-filled Band-Aid over the top of it and tell us that we're wrong for feeling uncomfortable. We're wrong from I have to debate whether or not I'm going to turn on my AC. Why? I live in California, the 5th largest economy in the world. I should have free AC, but no, it's too expensive because of his policies. So he solemnly warned that California way of life is under attack. Him, by forces threatened by diversity, pluralism, and innovative spirit. That is a load of bullshit. Okay? The problem is when you make diversity the cornerstone of your strategy, you're fucked. Okay? Diversity is great as long as it comes naturally. But this guy, man, our values and our way of life are the antidote to the poisonous populism of the right and to the fear and anxiety that so many people are feeling today. No, we're fucking broke. For conservatives and disillusioned California bashers, their success depends on our failure. No! Your failure is what bred California bashers. At least now, and California bashers used to be the people who were jealous of our weather. We have lost so many rights here in California. We can't even buy the same rifles that they can buy in Arkansas. Does that make us any better? No, because the bad guys still get the weapons. It doesn't matter how many rounds the gun holds. People will figure out a way to kill a lot of people if that's what they're going to do. But then when a criminal uses a gun, your side, the Democrats, don't use the gun enhancements. Look at George Gascon here in LA. And don't tell me, oh, Newsom did not appoint Gascon. It's the same political party. It is the same well of money. It is the same party. Newsom does not have to appoint Gascon to be responsible for Gascon because it's his party. I like what Kelly here from Murrieta, she's a Republican, said. While this pre-recorded speech fulfills the governor's legal mandate, it does not in any way fulfill his responsibility to Californians who deserve a safe, affordable, and opportunity-filled future. What future does my kid have here? Work hard and barely scrape by? 5th largest economy in the world. Certainly doesn't feel that way. New York Post sums it up best. Paradise to purgatory. Gavin Newsom and California's self-destruction. Never before has such a state, so rich in natural resources and endowed with such a bountiful human inheritance, self-destruct so rapidly. So why and how did California so utterly consume its unmatched natural and ancestral inheritance and end up as a warning to Western civilization? By them being dictators. Like they say, California has become a medieval society of plutocratic, barren, subsidized peasants and a shrinking and fleeing middle class. They want California as a state for the rich, and the only other people who live here are the people who clean their fucking toilets and cook their food. That's what they want. They want California to be a big fucking castle and all of the peasants to rally around. Middle class people don't qualify for either, so get the fuck out. It's now home to a few rich estates, subsidized apartments. There you go. Estates and subsidized apartments to clean the toilets of the estates, and unaffordable middle class housing. We're poorly ranked. We have poorly ranked public schools, but we brag about our private academies because they want the rich people to go through USC and become rich, powerful movie producers who can make movies that further our viewpoint. Gas prices are the highest in the country because of our green mandate formulas. And we're at around $6 a gallon right now. Yet our roads are some of the most dangerous. I was just driving down the freeway and just hit a giant pothole. It shook the whole car. It could break the bead on your tire. Now you got to get that fixed. But most of our transportation dollar has been siphoned off to the high-speed rail boondoggle, which is just a way for them to give more money to their rich cronies. Almost every night, we watch mass smash and grabs, Carjackers and thieves own the night. And they're rarely caught, even more rarely arrested, and almost never convicted. There's so many horrendous crimes that have been committed that Gascon just passes on. Just passes on them. See, going back to what I said earlier, Newsom is fighting in the courts to stop the people's constitutional right to place on the ballot initiatives to restore penalties for violent crime and theft. He's fighting our rights. The symptoms of the state suicide are indisputable. He enjoyed a $98 billion budget surplus. And a few years later, we're in a deficit. He spent it all. At a time of an overregulated, overtaxed, and sputtering economy, Newsom spent lavishly on new entitlements for illegal immigrants and untried and inefficient green projects. There you go. Wasted our money. Took our money and wasted it on what he wanted to do. Not what was best for us, what he wanted to do. Because they don't care. We were endowed with two of the wettest years in California history. Yet him and the radical environmentalists squandered all the water. Most of the water went right into the ocean. You know why? He's rich. He'll just bring it in his own water. How about that? Fuck the peasants. Keep the peasants thirsty. He transferred millions of dollars designated to build dams and aqueducts for water storage, and instead blew up 4 dams and said, problem solved. And those lakes that he's now basically drained used to provide clean, green hydroelectric power, but they don't like hydroelectric. You know why? Somebody else invested in hydroelectric. They want the stuff that they've invested in, like solar. We have a third of the nation's welfare recipients. Over a fifth of the population lives below the poverty line. Fifth largest economy in the world. Nearly half the nation's homeless sleep on the streets of our major cities here. We do nothing about it. We don't offer them any substantial help. And when we do, it just fucking backfires. They just build a big skyscraper to house the homeless. $600,000 for a studio apartment. That's how much they spent to build that thing. Really? Our downtowns are dirty, dangerous, and increasingly abandoned by business. And as one business leaves, more will go. Newsom's California has spent billions on homeless relief and subsidizing millions of new illegal migrants. That's where our money went. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So then, of course, more homeless and more illegal immigrants came here because we're giving them everything they need to live. Hey, why be poor in Bolivia when you could be poor in the United States? It's better to be poor here, apparently. And of course, he raised the minimum wage for fast food workers, which is now causing lots and lots of shutdowns. And those effects will be felt for years to come as this whole wage thing blows up and all kinds of places have to raise prices. But again, they don't care. They only want the rich and the poor in California. 27% of Californians were born outside the United States. That's almost 30%. 3 out of 10. That would be a great thing, except that a load of them are here illegally. Its highways are lethal, but it hosts the most private jets in the nation. The fantasies of a protective enclave of Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi, and the masters of Silicon Valley have become an abject nightmare of everyone else. Yeah. It is really expensive here. And I don't want to be told what to drive. I don't want a fucking electric vehicle. All right? I want straws. I want plastic bags when I go to the grocery store. How about you tell people to stop throwing that shit into the ocean or into the washes? And tell them to be more responsible with their fucking litter. No, we're going to ban it. We're going to make life hard on you. The state imports almost all the costly vitals of modern life, mostly because it prohibits using California's own vast petroleum, natural gas, timber, and mineral resources. That's our stuff. Those are our resources. When do we get a say on it? Did we get a say on this electric vehicle? No, because the king, Gavin Newsom, said so. And they went to college, so they're smart. They have all the answers. And we're just going to sit here and fucking take it? So what do they do? They're banning natural gas stoves in new homes. So now I'm being told what to cook on by these dictators. They've now imposed an income-based surcharge to help subsidize the 2.5 million Californians who simply default on their energy bills. Because they're due so damn high. Because you won't use any of our resources, so you buy the expensive shit. Even if California completely went green, it would make no difference. This is an expensive waste of time. What happened to the once beautiful California paradise? Millions of productive but frustrated, overtaxed, and underserved middle-class residents have fled. See? Meanwhile, millions of illegal migrants have swarmed in. Sanctuary state policies and all of these fucking entitlements. You know why? Because it's the illegal migrants that these rich Democrats can boss around and treat like slaves, because they essentially will be slaves. They will get a subsidized apartment and maybe free cable TV, and they will clean toilets, and they will cook food, and they will do all the menial tasks to serve the masters of California, such as Gavin Newsom. And there will be no middle class. Because slowly what they're going to do is they're going to take all the homes, convert them to low-income, subsidized apartments for the people who clean toilets. In sum, a privileged Bay Area elite inherited a California paradise and turned it into purgatory. That's what it is. The things that you enjoy about California, the weather, well, the government has nothing to do with that. As far as our wealth of entertainment here, slowly but surely you will be priced out of Disneyland. You will be priced out of concert tickets. You will be priced out of everything that makes for an enjoyable life, because they only want it for themselves. Bottom line. And meanwhile, California Democrats proposed $12 million for reparation plans in latest budget proposal. We're broke, and we're going to pay for slaves. Subsidized property taxes. Mandatory preference for black applicants. And they want to create something called the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency. California did not permit slavery. Bottom line. And you notice this proposal comes as polling shows Californians oppose cash reparations. Doesn't matter what we think. It's up to them. But of course, black legislators loved it. Wow. Our leadership and the governor recognized the obligation to those impacted by slavery. Not in this state. Not in this state. We didn't have slaves in this state. Why is this state on the hook for something that other states did? Because they want the votes. All right, let's see here. We're going to end with some good news articles. Major decision, Supreme Court allows cities to ban homeless encampments. They're throwing out that dumbass fucking thing from Idaho. Look, I get it. You know, people who are truly, homeless, they deserve to get help. And for the most part, they do. The people who are, for the most part, living on the streets have issues. Drug issues, mental issues. Maybe they're on the run. Maybe they're illegal. But either way, when they decide to explode, they just explode. Well, maybe there's change. Squad gives 21 fire alarm salute for their fallen comrade, Jamal Bowman. Thank God that fucker's gone. Look at those 4 women, man. That just looks like trouble. Some of them support Hamas. Some of them still think that BLM is a worthy organization. One of them, AOC, they just spouts their mouth off with whatever. Because they just want to be part of this elite. Okay? They just want to be there. And I'm sure New York's the same way. They just want rich people and the people who clean their toilets. And she wants to be a part of it. Hamas loses House seats to Democrats. Thank God he went down. I understand the Democrats. I understand what a lot of what they're trying to accomplish. It's the way they go about it. It's the fact that they claim that Trump is a threat to democracy when they've already strangled it. Here in California, I just feel like a peasant now. That's all we are. We don't seemingly have any rights. Somehow Gavin, Newsom, and Gascon survive recalls. I don't know how that happens. Every now and then they'll let one person fall just to make it look like they're playing fair. But these are the Marxists. These Democrats using Joe Biden as a puppet. They want to destroy America. That's what they want to do. Gavin Newsom wants to destroy California so the middle class flees. And then him and his rich friends could keep what they want, the golf courses, the beaches, Disneyland, the concert venues. You name it, whatever they want, they're going to keep. But the rest of us were just fucked. Why is California so anti-business? Because they don't want middle class people. The Democrats are showing themselves to be the dictators. At least the ones in power right now. Something needs to change. And as far as I'm concerned, that is a move to the center. Because I think centralists don't have some grandiose idea of a fantasy land to live in. I feel like centralists are just going to deal with problems as they come up, as they pop up. They're going to cross that bridge when they get to it. But they're going to reinforce the bridge. Because there's no sense in putting a Band-Aid on a problem to just have it erupt 10 times stronger next time. It's sort of like hand sanitizer. It kills 99% of bacteria. Well, what about the bacteria that survives? That's what the Democrats do. I don't know if the Republicans or Trump can do any better. I thought maybe this was the year that somebody a little more in the middle might emerge. Maybe we're seeing it here with Latimer beating Bowman. I don't know. But we need to do something, folks. Kid Copious. Purple State Party, and so are you. Love one another. Keep your toes in some grass. Hug your parents. Drink your water. Shout out to all the YouTubers who have inspired my little inspirations at the end. And you know what? I'm already hot and sweaty, so let's dance it out.